Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Artifact Highlight. Now, the past couple weeks I've been talking a lot about trains, I've been talking a lot about the turnpike, but I decided let's do something a little different. July 1st through 3rd, 2017 marks the 154th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. Now, I don't have really a lot of artifacts relating to the Civil War, but I am very much into the Civil War nevertheless. So these are just some little talking points I decided to bring out. I have 2 pictures and 2 postcards from Gettysburg. I'm going to talk briefly about them themselves, but I'm going to talk more about the history behind the things they represent. And, I'm actually an audience this time. I got my cat over here. She's going to watch the whole video. She ain't really paying attention. She doesn't like YouTube, I don't think. But let us begin. We're going to start off with these 2 photos. I was given to them by neighbors. They gave them to me. They're both taken, I believe, in either the late 50s or the early 60s. So we'll start over here, going by how the battle went on July 1st. Not really sure who this guy is. I believe he's actually a Battlefield's license guy, just by the get-up. I don't think he's an officer or anything, but he might be, so might be mistaken. But that's not my data history, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But what I do know is about the monument in the photo. This monument is located along McPherson Ridge in Gettysburg. That's about northwest of town. Now, on July 1st, 1863, the battle developed northwest of town, and it would also develop up into the northern parts of town. During this fight, this was where around time John Buford's bringing his cavalry out and doing the delaying tactics, going back from Hare Ridge to McPherson Ridge and then to Seminary Ridge. Then you get the First Corps of the Union Army coming up, led by John Reynolds, who was killed not too long after getting into the battle. Then you also bring the 11th Corps up, and this is where you get the full-on battle. Now, during this time, a resident of Gettysburg by the name of John Burns, he was a War of 1812 veteran, so we're talking late 70s at this time. Hearing the fighting, he came out with his gun, and we're talking about a very old type musket from the War of 1812. He comes out, falls into the line of battle, and actually takes part in the battle. He was wounded 3 times, and after the first 2, he refused to leave. He finally left on the 3rd. And he actually, if the accounts go correctly, he crawled back the whole way from the battlefield back to his house and into his basement. Because if he would have been captured by the Confederates, there's a big deal going on. The Confederates would have actually probably ended up capturing him, maybe even executing him, due to him being a civilian fighting for the Union. So, actually, today on the battlefield, they do have a monument dedicated to John Burns. He did survive the battle. When Lincoln, we'll get to a little bit later about Lincoln, in Gettysburg dress, obviously. When Lincoln came to Gettysburg, he actually wanted to meet this man who had fought tooth and nail. This old man had fought tooth and nail, so John Burns has had a couple photos. He's quite famous with Gettysburg. The next photo we're going to talk about, we're going to skip to July 3rd, 1863. This is a photo of the Evergreen Cemetery, but we're going to talk in the very back. If you can see there, the monument. That's actually Jennie Wade's gravesite. Now, Jennie Wade, she was the only civilian killed in the Battle of Gettysburg. Died by being shot through the back. While she was in her house cooking bread. I'm sure everybody knows the story. The bullet came, we main believe, from the Farnsworth house, came diagonally across, struck the door of her sister's her sister's side of a duplex, then went for the kitchen door before hitting Jennie Wade in the back. She was carried. They actually had to carry her up through to the 2nd floor through a hole that was created by an artillery shell that had struck the house the day before, went down the other side of the duplex and into the basement. When she was buried in Evergreen Cemetery after the battle, she was the one of only 2 women in to have the American flag over her grave, the other one being Betsy Ross. Now we're going to go down here and talk about the postcards for a bit. I want to start here with these 2 monuments. You have the Minnesota monument to the left and the Pennsylvania monument to the right. Now, the Minnesota, their story is not quite known, particularly the 1st Minnesota. The 1st Minnesota Regiment, they were already a small force when they were at Gettysburg. Hancock, General Winfield Scott Hancock, the commander of the 2nd Corps, on the 2nd day of the battle, he realized that there was pretty much a giant gap between the 3rd Corps line, which was down the road near the wheat field and the peach orchard, and up on Cemetery Ridge. So he got these 1st Minnesota regiments to pour in to fill this gap, and at the same time, the Confederates were bringing an attack up Cemetery Ridge. The battle that ensued between the 1st Minnesota and the Confederates led to the highest casualty rate for any regiment during the battle. It was, I believe, in the 80% rate for the 1st Minnesota. And then, of course, we get to the Pennsylvania Monument, which is somewhat iconic today of Gettysburg. It's the largest monument on the battlefield. There's a numerous assortment of tablets around the entire length of the monument dedicated to all the Pennsylvania regiments that were killed in the battle. I believe Pennsylvania and New York were up there with the highest number of regiments from one state in the battle. I believe Pennsylvania was in the lead, though. This is all located on Cemetery Ridge, Cemetery Hills, right around here where these trees are. And then that brings us to the end. This last postcard shows the Soldiers National Cemetery in Gettysburg. Now, I mentioned earlier we're going to talk about Lincoln. Lincoln came to Gettysburg in November 1863 to dedicate this national cemetery. Now, the National Cemetery was created to bury many unknown Union soldiers. So almost everybody in the National Cemetery are unknown Union soldiers that were reinterred from all around the battlefield in Evergreen Cemetery. So, you can see the nice shape they have of the cemetery. So. And finishes up this video. I think this one's a little more rambly, mostly because I did this at a last minute notice. I just thought, oh, well, the anniversary's coming up. I should probably make a video. I have a couple things to talk about. I just released the Everett Railroad video the other day. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get back to seeing any more steam trains because the area I live in, we don't have a lot of steam trains. If there's any steam trains in Pennsylvania, it seems like they're all over on the eastern end, so lucky eastern Pennsylvania. I'm not sure when my next video will be coming out, except for the artifact highlights. Since I'm uploading this, actually I'm recording this July 2nd, I might either be uploading on the 2nd for that Sunday, or I might just wait to keep on my schedule till next Sunday. So, in the future, tell me how that came out for me. So, hopefully I get another artifact highlight video out next time. So, hope everybody enjoyed. Till next time.